Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, results strategist, business coach, mentor, and consultant. Today, I have an awesome guest. He's an entrepreneur, disability clinical director, Metanoia Academy CEO, executive coach, and author of Raise the Bar. He helps diversifying CEO and executives to expand productivity and performance via leadership and relationship. Welcome, Jay Ibrahim, and thank you for being on my show.
Thank you, Athin. Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor just to be in your show. Thank you.
You're very welcome, mate. I'm sure it's going to be awesome for everyone watching and listening today. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself by telling us about you and your journey.
Yeah, sure. So I don't even know where to start, where it all began, but I did my undergrad in psychology when I was like back in school, and then I pushed a little bit further. I started falling in love with the idea of psychology. I started falling in love with the idea of understanding people. Maybe it was just going through a journey of me self-revelation. I'm trying to find out a little bit about myself. Maybe I'm trying to find out who I am in the process. So I did psychology. Sure enough, I took it a little bit further. I did more studies in mental health and recovery, studying in behavioral psychology and forensic, understanding human minds. I started loving the concept of understanding micro emotions. What do they mean? What do they stand for? Why people lie? Why people tell the truth? Why people avoid certain situations? Started understanding it, and then I took it even further. I did another 2 masters in behavior analysis and human and rehab counseling, and I just did so much, and I just found that it became strong. And then one day I was working, and I will never forget it. One day I was writing my report for work, and I was just sitting there writing my report. I'm just going, yeah, this is great. I was living in New Zealand at that time, writing my report. I submitted my report, and then I submitted my resignation at the same time. And then my boss saw the report. He goes, okay, great. And then he looked at the report, the resignation, going, what the hell, what happened? And I just said, this just can't be it for me. This just cannot be it for me. This lifestyle just cannot be for me. Can I just do a 9 to 5 and be comfortable with that lifestyle? So same day, I bought a one-way ticket to Australia, Melbourne, flew straight away, stayed in Melbourne. My parents were like, okay, you'll be back in 1 year. I'm like, yeah, maybe, possibly. Sure enough, I went there, struggled. I was parking cars for a living. I was a customer service, both places I got fired from because I just didn't care. I did all sorts of jobs that was just horrific, but I just had to make sure that I survived. It got to the point that I had no money in my account. Not only no money, I had a debt. I think I had minus $2,000, and I couldn't pay the rent. I couldn't pay for food. So I got kicked out of the house that I was living in, and I became homeless for a while. So I became homeless, and I had 2 options. I said I could either give up and go back to New Zealand where my parents will take care of me, or I can just persevere and remain homeless and just push through it. So sure enough, I chose the latter. I said, let's just do this. So I stayed homeless for about 3 months. I was anybody they would offer me a couch, I'll stay. If I was sleeping in the car, I would. Yeah, and then my breakthrough happened when I finally got a good job. I settled myself in a community, a mental health community, and I just worked there for quite some time. As I was working there, I was really persevering, growing, and then I just said to myself, what's next? I was really thriving. I was working in the industry for about 8 years then, and I was just asking myself, what's next? What can I do more? Because I felt like I was still short on the limitation of what my true potentials actually are. I figured out there's so much more that a human being can do, and we are so resourceful and so articulately, carefully calculated if we do everything correct. And we have ample amount of hours and time if we use it productively. So I said to myself, what else? So I jumped into the world of relationship and relationship coaching. I became the relationship guru, as some people started calling it, which I never liked that term, but that's the term that people used it. And then I started doing relationship coaching, and I realized every single foundation of any human being growing up came from the relationship that they have, parents, friends, circle, and yourself. Predominantly, that's all you did as a growing up. In business, there's business relations. In friendship, there's about relationships in that aspect, interpersonal. Everything molded itself, and especially working in the industry of mental health, forensic, and disability, you'll realize it all starts with their relationship that they had with the attachment body, which is the caregivers. You know, your parents, your nanny for some of the wealthy people, but it was always that relationship. So I just thought if I can tackle it early, I can hopefully prevent the cycle, the tormented cycle, the toxic cycle, the devastation cycle. And I just realized if I don't tap into that now, you're gonna meet husbands that beat their wives. You're gonna meet wives that cheat on their husbands. You're gonna meet fathers that disrespect or neglect their kids. You're gonna meet mothers that disown their kids because they don't understand who they are. They don't understand the principles of their core beliefs, identity, purpose, cause, nothing, and they end up breaking from inside. It's just because I did not understand you, and it doesn't. So I said. So the one question I ask every client that I ever work with is that, am I congruent with the message that I sent to you as a relationship coach with the results that you're getting? I just needed to understand. I needed feedback. I couldn't just rely on me saying I'm a relationship coach and that's enough. No, I needed to hear from my customers, from my market. What are they saying about me? So they said to me, Jay, you are a relationship coach, but I feel like you're giving us a lot more. You're giving us more about health, mental health. You're giving us a little bit about financial equities and financial intelligence, literacy, and so a little bit about spiritual connections. And I just realized there's so much variables. So I realized instead of me just becoming a relationship coach, let me engulf of what I believe a good life model really looks like. So the good life model became about the 4 principles: health, wealth, relationship, and spirituality. And it became the foundation because I realized there's 4 walls on a house, 4 wheels on a car, 4 legs in a chair, and a table. Everything connects by 4. Everything just seems to connect us by 4. So I just said, if I could tackle that, then I understand it. So I took that principle and I ran with it for a little while just to see it, the validity. And I realized people usually focus on their relationship, but they neglect their wealth. But people focus on their wealth so much, but they neglect their mental health. People connect themselves with their mental health and physical health, but they neglect their relationship or spiritual connection to the world. So you end up lacking one aspect of your life. And when that happens, you crumble. What happens when one tire is burst in a car? You can already see the performance of a car not functioning well. Not only that, you wear and tear it, and eventually the car will break down just because you neglected one pillar. So I started saying, let's just focus on those 4 pillars. I started focusing on those 4 pillars and started delivering everything that I deliver, every work that I do with any executive CEOs, any companies. It's about always focusing on the 4 pillars: health, wealth, relationship, spirituality. And then my journey just took off from there. And then I love the concept so much that I wrote the book about it, which is Raise the Bar, as you mentioned. And it became the foundation of what I do and what I stand for and what I deliver. The 4 pillars of life. Where is your health, wealth, relationship, spirituality? Where are you connected? Where are you disconnected? And where can we focus on creating a continuity of holistic lifestyle rather than just focusing on one aspect of your life? It's not enough. Hope that answered your question. Sorry for going far.
No, that's all good, mate. I loved it. Very powerful, right? The journey, the story, and I loved how you got deeper into those different elements there. And yeah, sounds like an amazing book. I'm definitely going to be delving more into it, and I recommend it to other people as well. It sounds really powerful with those 4 pillars, which are so important. And you're talking a bit there about mental health. Psychology is obviously where you initially got in, and you're got a lot of background in. So do you want to maybe go a little bit deeper into about psychology and how important it is? Because a lot of people probably don't have that awareness, I guess, of the psychology and how that affects us in life and business as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of concepts of psychology. And by the way, great question, Athens. I mean, I love your question, pinpointing straight away. So everything in our life is a psychology of some of performances, whether it's psychology of money, psychology of our own well-being, identity, creativity, who we are as a person, our personality, our characteristics, all comes from the psychology of self. The psychology of understanding the mind, body, and soul connection, or even just mind and body, if you're into that dichotomy. It's all understanding that everything is connected, no matter where you go. We are all connected by some sort of an entity, some sort of a connection, some sort of a relations between one another, but we're all connected. But our psychology is what makes us a little bit different, what makes us persevere, what makes us grow, what makes us stand out across the masses. And in psychology, they even tells you there's the highest traits of success. The highest trait of success is a concept called conscientiousness, which is by you being aware of your own surrounding, but it comes in four facets. Again, four pillars, four facets. It's always the four. The four facets are, so it's prudence, due diligence, organization, and so due diligence basically means like perfection, like having doing everything, so, cross-checking everything, taking care of everything. And then of course you got your prudence, your hard work, your attention to details, and making sure everything you work, you persevere, and your grit, so to speak. And then of course you got your organization, how to organize your life, how to prioritize your social circle, how to prioritize what's important in your life, what's urgent, what's important, and what's urgent and important, so that you don't spend all your time. People always ask for a balance of life and work. There's no such thing as a balance between life and work. But it's rather, how can you be more efficient with the time you have? That's organizational. And then finally, which is the most important aspects of your conscientiousness, is your decision making. If you lack self-awareness, if you lack self-confidence, if you lack competence, you have no decision-making capabilities whatsoever. And I'm sorry to some people don't like us to be rough about it, but sometimes you just need a little bit of grit. You need to be a little bit stoic. You need to be a little bit rough around the edges, man or female, doesn't matter. But you need to be just a little tough, because life is difficult, but it becomes easier to bear once you understand it. And that comes from a good reflection, self-awareness, understanding who you are. Because if you don't have, what is the concept? If you have high competence but low confidence, they call it's called armchair quarterback, where you think you're better than in the world. High competence and low confidence, you actually become an imposter. That's where you get imposter syndrome from, because you have the knowledge, but you don't have the confidence in delivering the knowledge, so you start to doubt yourself. And one seed of doubt in your life, no matter how small it is, it will populate to a whole crops of self-defeating narratives and self-fulfilling prophecies. We're like, it won't work. I just don't see it working. The moment you say that, it will become true, because you already prophesized it. So decision making. And then if you have high confidence but low competence, then you get the armchair for what's it called, quarterback, where it's part of the Drawing and Kruger effect, where basically you're thinking that you know everything. And when you do that, you become a prosecutor in your own life, which means basically you start to defend everything that people try to challenge you about those thoughts. No, I know how to do it. I know how to do that. It's done this way. If it didn't work, it's not because of me. It's because the system didn't make it work. So you start to become so prudent and so delusional in your own principles. But if you don't understand the psychology of self, it's the demise for everything that you do. Not only self, but also your business. Every single concept, every single book that you read about self-development, it always talks about the mindset, which is the concept of self, of your growth mindset, and understanding how you can expand your life. And it all comes from the decision making and the conscientiousness, four facets. If you can put it together, you will create an impact in everything that you do. Everything that you do.
Yeah, love that, mate. Really powerful. And, I love the bit about decision making. It's so important, right? And, Richard Branson says, make decisions quickly and change them slowly, right? So, that's how it should be in business, and it should be in life as well, as long as you've got, the information. But I think a lot of people, can overthink things at the same time,
Right.
get in this analysis paralysis or whatever it is. So, do you want to maybe delve a little bit deeper into this about, like, why do people do this, and how can they, I guess, move forward quicker to make those better decisions and make them quicker at the same time?
100%. Yeah, great question. So I get this is where it started for me, which is that understanding that relationship. Where do people begin? I mean, I understood business, life, relationship, everything from my parents and the circles I go. So it's my relationship with my past that I had in my past that made me understand who I am now. But if you have lack, if your parents is not as successful as you are now, or they're not as successful as you want them to be, if your parents worked a 9 to 5, if your parents, they can teach you for as far as they know. But eventually you have to break through. They will teach you as far as their own ceiling. But for their ceiling should be your floor. So if you're not able to go higher, you will be succumbed to the parameters of that what they give you. There's a great concept in David Goggins' book, You Can't Hear Me. It says to you, we don't rise to our potential, but we fall to our level of training. So what's our level of training? It's what we surround ourselves with. Who are you with? Who's your best friends? Who's your top 33 percenters in your life? Are they doing better than you? Are they a part of that lifestyle that you want to become? And if you do that, then your decision-making skills will be fantastic. You'll be able to understand exactly how to make decisions quick, but also how to fail with grace so it doesn't become a habit. Damon Jones talks about it in Rise and Grind. He says to you, if you're going to fail fast, fail quick, and move on. Just move on. But people always fail fast and fail quick and stop. And what happens when you stop in that level? That's exactly what depression is. Depression is you going from a state of where you are now to the state of disbelief, where you can't believe that the world has crumbled, to the state of growth, or like rising from a phoenix, rising from an ashes as a phoenix. So you go from where you are, a state of despair, to the phoenix, which means you have to go through a trajectory of declining before you rise up. That's what depression is. It's the decrease. But people remain in depression. They stay in that state, and that's why they have depression. They don't know that they just have to get over, like move on to the next stage to get to the other. And I'm not saying get over it, but I'm just saying give yourself the permission to move forward. Say to yourself, I know I feel depressed, but I gotta keep take one step at a time. It's those little tiny decisions that you make. And Robin Sharma says it, and I know I'll butcher it the way I say it, but he loves this phrase. He goes, grow incrementally so you can make a significant impact. But he goes, grow in small increments. So make a decision every day that you're gonna power through. And even Abraham Maslow talks about in the hierarchy of needs. He goes, every day we're supposed to move to a self-actualization, which is basically understanding our true self. Every day we have to make a decision towards it, which means every day we're moving towards it. But the moment you create doubt or have you become indecisive, you don't stop. You actually take a step backwards. So now the gap is 2. It's not 1, because you should have been here, but you're actually now here, which means you should have been on +1, but you're actually in -1. That means there's 2 gaps. So you have to work double the amount to get to where you should have been. But by that time, you would have been in level 4 or steps a little bit further. So every day you step towards your self-actualization, and every day you make a decision against it by not doing anything, by not taking decisions, by not being proactive, by not using your time efficiently. You actually go backwards. So now the gap expands. What happens in that gap? You get anxiety, you get depression, you get borderline personality, you get bipolar, because you are in a state of disbelief, a state of disrepair. And the only thing you have to do is just basically become your opposite self. I made a decision yesterday that I shouldn't do this, so today I'm going to do the opposite. Just like I just said to you, that George Costanza from Seinfeld. Do the opposite. Just do the opposite, and you will eventually move forward. But the decision that you make every day has to be towards your self-actualization. And if it's not, you're moving backwards. And by the time you catch up, you'll be 5 years ahead. 5 years from now, which means instead of me working towards my goal, towards my business, towards my lifestyle, I'm working against it. So now I have to work extra hard just to be where I should have been now. And that's exhausting. And that's what exactly a depressive state is. And that's part of the mental health and decision making. It all starts from the decisions.
I loved what you said there, Jay, about decision making, how it's all connected, right? And one of the things that you mentioned was about productivity. And I think, how productive we are in the decisions that we make and to get there quicker, right? You talked about those levels and about how we can move forward in those levels quicker. So do you want to maybe go a little bit deeper and share how we can increase our productivity in our business and life as well?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for a fantastic question again. So there's the 80-20%, the 80 and 20 rule, which I really love, which is to say to you that spend 80% of your time on only the top 20% problems or issues or the toughest part of your role or your job or your task, even if you're doing the day. So instead of worrying about the minute stuff, get your staff to deal with it, delegate it, become great at prioritizing and delegating with your team. And that's a great leadership trait to have, not just doing the task, but the delegation. Because when you delegate, you allow others to shine. And when they shine, they produce. And when they produce, they feel good about themselves. The motivation cycle continues. So if you spend 80% on those tasks, really put your resources toward it, then you'll be able to understand, that you'll be able to relieve your time so you can get 80% of your time back. And that's what's so good about the 80-20 rule, is that you actually get your time back. Because the moment you smash the 20%, and it's solved, you actually get 80% of your time back, and then 20% is to maintain the work that you've done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you flip it. And when you do that, you actually create, because I love this. Seneca talks about it. There's a shortness of life. People always worry about that life is too short, or life is, you blink of an eye, life is gone. But in reality, life is not short, but we waste a lot of it. We put so much of our time in people that won't give us their time back. They won't dedicate their time towards us. We act like we have so much ample amount of time. We date the wrong people. We make the wrong we make the wrong connections with people. We give people that don't value us our time, acting like we're gonna get it back. And then give little time to decision making and productivity towards your business, because we're thinking we have to be prudent and we have to be very careful. That's not a true fact. Don't give all your time to the people that don't cherish your time. It's irrelevant, and you will end up defeating every single productivity you ever had in your life. You do have enough time, just don't waste it. What do you do during the day? How do you stay productive? For me, I wake up at 5 o'clock every day. Weekends or no weekends, holiday, no holiday. I'm up at 5 o'clock. I do my readings. Even now, as we speak today, I'm on a friend's birthday party. It's 40th birthday. I'm enjoying it. And I bought my books with me. I woke up again at 5 o'clock today. I read 3 books today. So I spent 2 hours reading all 3 books. I don't finish them. I'm just reading each chapters and different stuff. But I read because I want to diverse my ideas and mentality and really get a lot of expansion in my brain on what I understand. I read, and then I do. Then you do your morning meditations. I do a little bit of breathing. I did a little quieter, and sometimes I don't even talk. I just sit there for a little while just to contemplate. And then after that, I go for a little bit of jog, walk, whatever is needed, just to keep you. So by the 7:30. And after I do my walk, I come back and I prioritize my day. I say, what is the top 3 things that I need to focus on for today? Only the top 3. Don't add more. What's the top 3 things that I need to do? It cannot be involving email. It's about decision makings, meetings and stuff. What are these top 3 things? Your 80%. Top 3. The rest of the stuff, can I delegate? Yes, great. The other stuff, can I leave it for another time? Yes, great. Or can I discard it altogether? So now I prioritize my life according to that. And as soon as I do that, by the time it's 10 o'clock or even 1 o'clock, for example, my day is done with hard decisions and things that I need to do that's so important. The rest of the day is just all about plateauing and relaxing for the day and getting ready for kind of the evening where it's time for my family and stuff like that. But it's your time. How do you produce efficiently? And if I tap into the relationship really quick, My partner, they always say to you, like, you know, you got to spend a lot of time with your partner. Not necessarily. You got to spend good quality time, deep focus, hard work, non-distracted, undivided attention time with your family. Give them that, they give you days to yourself because it's all crucial. If you just give your partner 5 good minutes of your undivided attention, she'll let you do whatever you like for the next hour because she knows that you dedicated time. But it has to be undivided, deep focused, and dedicated just for that moment between you two. So I dedicate exactly between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock just for me and my pop. And after that, she lets me work all the way till the evening nights, and she lets me work in the morning without interruption because she understands the work that I have to do. But it's that deep, undivided time, and that's where your time needs to be devoted. Don't worry about work-life balance. It's an irrelevant concept and it's a myth. Focus on how can you be productive and efficient with the time that you have. Because you're not going to be able to put 100% at home and 100% at work. That's energy. You don't have that much energy. Nobody does. And eventually you're going to deplete with time. It's just simple physics.
Yeah, love that, mate. Really powerful. Some strategies there. Really powerful. And one thing that you touched on there was about leadership, right? And I think leadership is becoming more important in business, right? Whatever level that you're at. So, do you want to maybe delve a little bit more into how we can become better leaders as well?
Oh, yeah, great, man. Fantastic questions. Yes. So, as a leader, the first question I have to ask myself, where do I want to be 5 steps from now? 5 moves from now, where do I want to be? And then where do I want my team to be? Also 5 steps from now. Where do I see us together? Because remember one thing, your team don't follow you, they follow your cause, they follow your why, they follow your purpose. Message is strong and it resonates. They go to war, they fight for the cause, and the cause is their country, their families, their protection. It's just their cause. So your leadership always have to ask yourself where I want to be 5 steps from now. But I'm gonna start today. I want to take my business. I want my business to make $250,000 in next quarter. What do I have to do today to get there? And what's my reason to get there? And good thing Simon Sinek talks about, even he goes, don't use definitive arbitrary goals. Like I'm gonna make this much, this much, this much by this much. Instead, have it an infinite game of progress. So I rather have my team progress throughout the year than to reach an arbitrary goal where they can start to defeat themselves because they can't reach it. So it's because it's all about the infinite game, about how much can we continue working. So I took that and I said to myself, I'm gonna put a timeline, but I don't care if we reach it. I don't care if we reach that goal by then, but I care that we progress by then. I care that we're moving forward by then. So how can my team and I feel the same vision? They're not gonna have the same passion as I do because it's my business, but I gotta get them driven towards what their passion is. I got to go in their pace. I got to go into their level. I got to go through their understanding. And only then they will follow because they understand that I care about them. What's the number one reason why people work at your company? It's because they feel connected. It's that chemistry that you provide them. It's that culture that you provide. So as a leader, my job is to create an environment where there's growth, autonomy, efficiency, teamwork, collaboration, and a lot of decision making, even from our juniors. So our juniors will come into our team meetings and literally give us ideas and decision makings to teach everybody that everybody has a voice in the team. When they do that, I have a 3-year-old, right? I have a 3-year-old. She's fantastic. She's everything that I see in a child. The seeing me is in her. It's just I love everything about it. But when she was 1, I would ask her to make decisions. What do you want to eat? And I give her 2 options. And every single time she makes the decisions, she smiles. And when she smiles, she eats that cereal. She eats that snack because she made the decision. And now as she's getting older, now she's 3, I don't even have to ask, what do you want to eat? I don't have to give her an option. What do you want to eat? I want to eat this. When she's still till today, whenever she makes a decision, she still smiles. It's just because she feels valued. And if you can see it in your kids, you can see it in your staff. What is it that you want to do today, John? What is it you want to do today, Greg? If I created an entrepreneurship where there's a business inside of the business, would you run it? Yeah, of course. What idea do you want to run? I want to be able to do this. Okay, it's your project. What do you want me? What resource do you want from me to make that happen? I want this is done. I'll deliver that. Your job is to deliver this. Can we put a timeline together? Yes, I can do it in 6 months. Give me 5. I'll give you 5 months. Do it in 5 months. Yeah, okay, cool. But if you don't do it, I still want to see progress. Okay. Then you lead into that trust, that ability, that culture. People flourish. People say, thank you. And they start feeling so driven. Because one, they don't just want to disappoint me, but to be honest, now they have ownership of something of their own. And that's the dynamic we want to create for our team. So whenever I work with companies, whenever I work with leaders, with the CEOs and executives, that's what I teach them about their business and how to create leaderships. It's all about the culture. And Ben Horowitz says, who you are. Wait, another word. He said it nicely. You are what you think. Yeah, and there's the concept about how the culture. It's if you don't deliver it yourself, they won't follow you. You can't say, make sure you do the work, but you're sitting back doing nothing. You have to lead from the front. You have to be in charge. They have to see you persevere and struggle and go through pain and hardship so they can understand if he's willing to do that for us, I'm definitely going to do that for him or for her. Doesn't matter. But you got to lead from the front. And the good thing about that leadership principles is that it comes in different values and it comes in different outcomes. But all outcomes if they're moving forward, it's a progress, and all progress is a good step towards success. So leverage it, enjoy it, and smile about it. It's fantastic. We'll move forward. And I was working with a coach just the other day, and he was just telling to me, Jay, it's going to be a lot of work to do this. But okay, let's just make it work. So every single time he throws me an obstacle, I'm like, okay, just make it work. And I keep telling him, just smile about it. Well, let's just make it work. So every time I smile, he ends up smiling. He's like, okay, let's make it work. So we end up making it work. And that's what leadership is about. It's about just understanding there's no problem in this world that cannot be solved with a team. Not a problem in this world. Solve it with the team, but do it with it. Have fun, enjoy the process, because it will create an amazing outcome at the end of it.
Yeah.
Hope that answered your question.
Definitely, mate. Love it. Going to the depth of leadership and how we can become better leaders. And, if we talk more about business, I think, diversification is a great term, right? About how do we diversify? How do we do multiple things? And that's in business as well as in like life and wealth and things like that. So do you want to maybe talk more about diversification, the importance of it, and how we can, move forward with it?
Oh, you touched on my favorite topic, man, diversifying. Every single time I meet with a CEO and a business coach or anybody in business, and they tell me, Jay, I'm a coach, and I tell them the fact that you just declared that you're a coach, which means you submitted yourself to only one aspect, which means you are just a coach. You are nothing else. And that is terrifying because you're not just a coach. You're not just a position that you've been assigned. Even if you're doing this as an interim, you're not just that role. You are so much more. You got to be able to diversify. You cannot make a successful and highly successful business without diversifying. Because if you stay in one lane, even if you're just doing coaching, which is fine, but if you don't do coaching and then I hire people underneath you, diversifying your business in any format, the business will crumble because it's only going to run on you, which means as long as you are running your business, the business is running. That's one, exhausting. That you don't get time back with your family and the things that you're really important in your life, and you won't have time to do things that you really enjoy. The first thing I ask people, because the first thing I do when I talk about diversifying, I tell them, I'm going to give you the 2 to 5 year retirement plan. That's what I do. So the first thing as soon as I meet with the CEO, I said, how can I give you a 2 to 5 year retirement plan? That's what I'm going to do. They love it. I told them, what's the first thing you're going to do the moment you have your time back? What is the first thing they say? Travel. So the fact that you have to run away from your reality and go somewhere else around the world because you want to vacate discomfort, like go on a vacation and vacate your reality, it tells me that the lifestyle that you're living is not as true as form, which means it's not the lifestyle that you want. You have to vacate away. So let's get you the lifestyle that you actually want. And the only way you can do that is by diversifying. So I'm thinking, what else can you do? So I'm always thinking about, let's think horizontally for what else can you do? What else can you do from one resource? So if you have one client or so one department, what else can this department do to expand? What else can it do to really leverage everything? Is it connected to the right people? Is it liaising with the right? Is it partnering with the right people? Is it understanding who else can benefit from you and you benefit from them? But the main concept, and here's the tricky one: if you're gonna partner, the idea, the principle behind is that they have to make more money or more leverage than you. You can't have a partnership where you make more money than the partnership that they have. It doesn't work out. The partnership that I create with people is that they have to make more money than you. So any partnership that I create, let's just say I take 20%, they take 80. Which means if I make them $1 million, they take 800 and I take 200,000. So that means every single person I work with or connect or expand, they have to make more money than me. Simple concept, and that's the value that they're looking for. So as you expand and diversify, as soon as I diversify, my first thing I say, okay, how can I leverage as much as I can from this person? How can I help them expand so much and see beyond? So why open one department when you can open two? Why is it all under one company when you can open a second company and expand? This way you create multiple streams of income, and your company is no longer one. Your company is an umbrella of many things, of many tasks. Maybe you can do philanthropy work and do a foundation. Maybe you can do some work on the other side and do some construction. So construction work. So an example, I have a company that does delivery of service, but they always look for a house to provide the services for the clients. I said, why don't you start another company and buy the house? And he's like, okay. So now they started another company and they started buying houses where the clients live in the house. I said, okay, why don't you start another company where the company becomes a construction company to build a house? So he started build another company. The company builds the house where the client lives in it. I said, let's do more. Why don't you build another company where you can become only a recruitment company to hire the staff that will live in the house working with the client? We expanded. So now this client has about 18 companies all under one big umbrella. And each company is making him 200,000 minimum as a profit. So now his wealth grew instantly because he realized I don't have to limit myself to one. I can diversify. And as soon as he did that, I told him, now let's jump into other projects. He's like what? I told him, let's buy a village. Let's buy a school. Let's buy this. Let's buy that. And this guy is listening. He's buying. Within few years together, he already bought $100 million worth of assets in 1 year. And he just said, because he was just able to diversify and just listen and move forward. So because of that, eventually we ended up buying a school, ended up buying a 25-acre land to turn into a first ever disability village. We bought a retirement home and turned it into a first ever therapeutic respite facility. We bought a school in an 11-acre land. We bought so much, and we just diverse. We just realized because there's so much more you can do with one resource. You don't have to get so many clients and so many things, so you can just one and diversify, expand, figure out what's next. So figure out what else, and then figure out what's next. What else? What's next? What else? What's next? It's that horizontal and vertical leap. Horizontal, what's next? And then take the what else can you do? And then the vertical leap is what's next. And then just keep diversifying. Simple.
Yeah.
You don't have to complicate life.
Love that. So powerful, mate. And, really, I'm sure expand a lot of people's minds, right, about how can we do different things, to expand and make it, more of a holistic system like you talk about it. So, I think one part of that is about like getting investors to some extent, right? And some people are like, you know what, I want to do it all myself. Can I, but then they might not have the funds to be able to do it, or they'll do it really slowly and it takes them a long time. So do you want to maybe talk a little bit about the benefits of like getting investors in with our vision, our business as well?
Easy, man. Yes, great question. So this is where it comes to that competence and confidence that we spoke about before. If you have too much confidence, you have too much ego. When you have too much ego, you cloud yourself of all opportunities because you think I got to do this on my own. I got to do this by myself. I can't reach out because I don't want to look weak. All of these concepts are just something that you've been taught. It goes back to that relationship that you had with your parents or growing up, that asking for help is a sign of weakness. In reality, asking for help and collaborating is the best form of growth that you can ever do. Also, it adds to your humility. The number one trait that you could have besides conscientiousness to grow is humility. The fact that you can humble yourself to the reality that you don't know everything and you can't do everything on your own. One, it makes you attractive. Two, it makes you courageous, and your vulnerability becomes very high welcomed because your vulnerability becomes very much welcome in the eyes of everyone else. So when you do that, people will invest in you time and time again with no questions. So I had a concept. People will buy ideas from you. People will buy concepts. Think of a concept or an idea just like I'm making a movie. It comes up with an idea of what the movie is going to be about. Then you have to get writers, or you can write it. Then you have to have producers, directors, actors. So you can't build on that movie on your own. You have to need a team. Same thing with the investors. I had an idea about the school that I mentioned to you. I had an idea with a friend of mine that we wanted to come up with building a school. So we had the idea, and we wanted to build the school according to these parameters, these suggestions. Sure enough, we went around. We asked investors because we needed at that time we needed 500,000 to get it done, and that's a lot of money, especially for first timers that never built a school before. It's a lot of money. So we went and we spoke. I spoke to as many people as I could. They all rejected me until I had one person. One person I went up to him and told him the idea, and I told him the idea expand. He goes, "Would the idea expand?" I told him the idea has the potential to become international in exactly 5 years if we do it right. As soon as I said that to him, he said, "Okay, let's sit down." He took us out for breakfast in the Crown Casino, fed us pineapple with a fork. It's a very bizarre concept in its own, but I loved it. Sure enough, and I told him, and he looked at me and he was so serious. And I will never forget that moment. He looked at me, was so serious. He goes, "Your idea is too small." But I'm thinking, it's 500,000. He goes, "Yeah, it's just too small for us. It doesn't work." He told me, "How many kids would you have in your school?" I said, "About 15. He goes, "Way too small." I'm thinking 150. He just said, "Move forward." He already invested in an idea before he even moved forward, but he just said, "I want more." So what? And he goes, I told him, and then I thought, okay, I told him, "Yeah, we can accommodate 150. And he goes, "What else can you do in the school?" I thought we could do swimming pool, gymnasium, boarding. And he goes, "Not enough. Give me more." And I thought we could do day program. We could do all this. And he goes to me, "Still not enough. I need more." I said, "We could do like this." And he goes, "Okay, how much would that make?" And I did the calculation really quick in my head. Very good with math. So for me, it was easy. Always know your numbers. Always know your numbers. So I knew my numbers, and I told him anything between you'll probably do anything 25 to 50 mil. He looked at me and goes, "Not enough. Let's do more." So I went back to the drawing board, calculated, did the business plan, the model, did the research, came back to him with like a 30-page proposal. And he looked at it, didn't even spend 2 seconds reading it. He just looked at the final page and he looked $178 million. He goes, "We're in." And that was it. He goes, "Okay." He bought the school. He bought the land. We're building the school as we speak. And the project is just booming at the moment. People are attracted. People want to know about it. People are shaking hands. People want to know. We've got mayors that want to be there during the opening day. We're having a festival for it. We're doing all those things. He goes, "Okay." And then from that idea, just that idea, which I'm paying no investment money, no money whatsoever in this project, but I take 10% of the whole ownership of it. 10% shares of the whole $178 million company. I take 10% shares. And that by itself is powerful. On top of that, we asked for our income in the salary, which is 250, and it was done. All of that came from an idea and humility that I don't know everything. I want to learn. I'm happy to share the project, and I'm happy to get investors in in the whole project. And everybody and everything else just became simple. They said to me, yeah, sure. So from no money down payment, no incentive, nothing, just a simple idea that I knew was powerful, we were able to make $178 million in profits.
Powerful.
Doesn't require much.
Yeah, love that, mate. So powerful story. And just to open everyone's eyes, right? That, with the right partners, with the right investors, you can make, big projects happen. And I love the way that he stretched your thinking as it's not big enough. Keep going bigger, right? Because we need those external people. And I think that's, very linked to coaching and mentoring to some extent, right? As well, which helps us to understand different things about us that, we're not really noticing about ourselves. So do you want to maybe quickly just touch on how important coaching, mentoring has been with you, in your business and life as well?
It's everything. You have your first mentors in life are your parents. First mentors in your life. But again, they can only stretch you out for as far as they are aware. There's a great concept by Dr. David Stoop. He said that my father left me when I was 14, which means I only knew how to be a father to only a 14-year-old boy. Because after that, my father was gone. So I did not know how to raise a 16. So, and that concept for me was powerful. Same thing with Grant Cardone. He said that his dad was broke, I think he was 50 before he died, but his dad left him with nothing. So he was terrified when he's going to be 50, he's going to also leave his kids with nothing. So that has to be your first thought. Do you want to leave nothing? Do you want to be the same as them at that time? And the idea is no, so you have to get somebody that's now ahead of the game. You have to get a financial or business parents. You have to get a whole set of parents, somebody that will look at you going, get up, don't be weak, push further, think bigger, diverse, do this, do that. Somebody that coaches you and mentors you in life that will take you to places that you never knew existed because they've been there before. It's like walking in a landmine, knowing that they've gone before you and showed you the way, so this way you can follow the same path. You would not be silly and go a different path thinking, you know what, let me open up another one. You'll die. It's a landmine. But they've opened the way for you through their own passage. And if you follow it, you know for a fact you're going to get the same success, the same result. That's what mentors and coaches are supposed to do. They're not supposed to show you, guide you by hand, but rather enlighten you so you understand there is a way, there is a possibility, and you are much more than just the problem that you're facing. It's because you can deal with it. So let me paraphrase it again. So every problem, life will always give you the problem that you can handle at that specific time of your life. So if I started earning $100 million a year and I face a problem then, it's because the life gave me a problem that I'm now physically and mentally ready for. But if I look at that problem as as depleting, as tough and difficult, then that means I'm not ready for that growth. It's not my time and I'm not mature enough. So when you have a coach and a mentor, they'll be able to allow you to see beyond that problem and see something bigger. I mean, Phil Knight, the guy that wrote Shoe Dog, Nike, he was sued initially by another company in Japan for a small amount of money. I think it was 25,000 at that time, like in the 80s, 70s. And for him, there was a lot of money, which it is now even, but it was a lot of money at that time, extremely amount. But he was able to persevere and fight it. Then later on, he was sued for $25 million because of, I think the competitors, Puma, what's that, Adidas, were fighting because they didn't like the competition, because now Nike became the empire that it is now. And even then, he was not afraid because he knew that he wouldn't have got that problem whatsoever if he was not ready for it. So he was able to be resourceful, clever, strategic, and he ended up beating that law case altogether. He was fine with it, and he was able to pay that, I think, 20 million fine at that time. But the problems that we face, it's dealt with the new milestones in our life. Mentors and coaches, their job is to show you that there's something else there. Nothing that you can face will be that terrifying, especially if you have the right guidance, the right person on your side. So if you don't have a mentor by now, get one. Get one quick. They are fantastic. They are great, but get ones that has the highest intentions towards you. There's some successful people that are great leaders, but they're not amazing mentors. It's because they don't have the time or they don't have the energy to be a mentor. So find the one there is. I was blessed to find one now that has been coaching me and mentoring me in everything that's related to business. And because of him, I'm able to make deals quick, decisions so much quicker, and we just bought a $27 million retirement village. And what happened in 5-minute deal, we just sat down, we knew what we're looking for. We said, yeah, we want this, good to go. And with a coach and a mentor, you're always ready to make these quick decisions because now you know how to think differently. You know how to expand, and you know how to formulate ideas and come to a conclusion on the spot. You don't need a long delegation anymore because your unconscious mind is equipped with so much knowledge and departments where it
Cool. Awesome, mate. So there's been so much gold today in this interview. It's been very grateful. And I guess just as we're finishing things up, what one key piece of advice would you give to all of the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Yeah, don't diverse. Just diverse. Always think beyond. There's a concept that I like. It's called six-pack of the mind. It basically means you cannot just read a book about leadership and be satisfied, even if you are a leadership coach, even if you're an entrepreneur in leadership. You got to be able to diversify. You need to be able to read books about history, books about biographies, books about money, books about relationships, books about spirituality, books about everything. In order for you to get a six-pack, you have to be able to indulge in different diversity of food to the mind, just like food to the mind, not only the same nuggets that you get from leadership books. You gotta be able to get money. So I have, for example, I have books on relationship. I even have books by Mark Twain. Had nothing to do with leadership. I nothing to do with anything, but it's just familiarizing yourself with everything around you. It increases your creativity, your experience, your expertise, your knowledge, and allows you to see things from a different angle. That vantage point could be your moneymaker and could be the way you expand and explode your business to the highest realm. Diversify. Read as many different books as possible. Think of many ways. Look for different vantage points, and don't just think that you are only an entrepreneur in one area. Diverse. There's so much more resources. Use them all. Collaborate, connect, and goddamn do the work. Be efficient.
Love
That's
it.
pretty much it.
So powerful, mate. Diversification. So yeah, we connected through our networks where I learned about your awesome journey from delving into psychology, to relationships, to all areas of life and business, where you now help Diversifying CEO and executives to expand, productivity and performance via leadership and relationships. You're an awesome guy, and I'm sure you continue to make a massive difference in this world. I'm very grateful that we connected, and I look forward to working with you in the future. So, Jay, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I do have my Metanoia Academy, but we're actually working on our website. So it's going to be jayibrahim.com, where you're going to get all my courses, all my books, all my blogs, all the information you ever need to know about me is going to be in jayibrahim.com. And if you ever get a chance to work or want to connect, just reach out on my Facebook, Jay Ibrahim.
Yeah, love that. Really powerful. Definitely check out Jay. He's like you said, check him out on Facebook. He's got his website. He can help you get into those problems, and just an amazing, so much knowledge, right? How many hours of books he reads every day, right from this morning. So definitely check out Jay, an amazing guy. And
thank you.
And thank you to everyone for watching and listening to this show, where we talk about everything on business growth. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. I completely agree with you. Or do I? The only way we know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.